Hi, this is Ben from 561 Music Podcast. Right now, we're trying to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. It just helps us get out there more. It also enables us to monetize the podcast, to make it better, do more advertising for it and things like that. Subscribe to the podcast and hit the notifications button. That would be doing us a really big favor. Thank you very much. Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben.
And I'm Hector.
And how are you doing, Hector?
I'm doing pretty good this week, man. How are you doing?
I'm really good. Everything's great. My best bud Ollie's in town.
My favorite Englishman.
Oh, come on now. That's not fair.
All right. You guys are tied for first. How about that?
I'll take it. Literally the only two English people you know.
Pretty much. I mean, I didn't even think there was anybody else in England. It's just you guys.
Yeah, just me and Ollie.
Oh, no. There's Marlon, too. That's three.
And the King. There's four of us.
He doesn't count.
Yeah, true. So, this weekend we were up at Kilted Mermaid,
we were, man. That was fun. It was a weird, fun crowd this weekend.
Oh, yeah, it was. Kilted was bananas. There was that fun girl who was causing trouble.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. She was, Christy was her name.
Yeah, I know, which was really awkward because it's my wife's name. That was quite something.
It was very awkward.
Yeah.
She said, what did she say? She said, play that saxophone, but play it nice and dirty.
Yeah. She had me put a little bit of growl into the situation.
Yeah. And then there was that whole group. I don't know if it was a wedding shower or what it was, but there was a whole group of girls in that back area there that were dancing to like everything we were playing. It doesn't matter what we were playing.
They were doing a conga line around the bar.
Yes.
And then James said, "Oh, that's the first time we've ever had someone run train on us, like off stage." And we were like, "Do you know what that means, James?" But then,
then he smiled and said, "Yes, I know exactly what that means."
It was pretty.
It was awkward. Where else did we play this weekend?
Well, James and I played up the Square Scrooper.
Yeah. And then we played somewhere else.
Sailfish.
We
did a lot of time up north.
Up north, yeah. Sailfish was fun too. There was a good group of people there too.
Yeah, my rock name, a bit of a carryover from back in the day when I was a bit of a pain in the ass, is Captain Sailfish.
Yes.
And so Sailfish Brewing is like my spiritual home.
Yes.
And they've turned the stage into like a golf course or something, like a putting green.
It was weird. It was like all the holes and everything for the putting green, and it was very awkward. It was very awkward.
I got to tell you though, for drums that wasn't bad because you had this kind of AstroTurf, and at least the drums and the little hole for putting, you put your soda in there. Yeah, it was actually kind of cool. So how's it going, guys? We got Rogue Theory with us today. We got Harry, Ryan, and Johnny. How's it going, guys?
Going good.
Good,
What's up,
man.
fellas?
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Thanks for coming on. It's been I've been looking forward to having you on for quite a while, actually. Yeah. Ever since the podcast started, you've been on the radar, so I'm really happy that you got to make it over here. It's fantastic. First thing, I'm just curious, where did the name Rogue Theory come from?
Wow. Yes. I'm just kidding. So it actually came from a series of articles that I was reading at the time. I was flying a lot at the time, and on one of the flights, I saw the word rogue in an article. I always liked that word because it stands for deviation from standard for us.
Sure.
And then abstract principles of a body of art. Later on, I saw is the word theory. So later on, I saw that in the same article, and I just kind of put both of them together and stuck with Rogue Theory. And now
it's a cool name.
Yeah, it's a really cool name.
Now I have to explain to everyone how to spell rogue, though.
I know, yeah. Unless you play Dungeons and Dragons, and then
they just don't get it. Yeah, or I mean, there's a pretty good character in the X-Men too. So I think it's a good reference. You know?
Totally.
I'm sorry. Do you really? I mean, I know you were saying, you were saying thanks for spelling it correctly on the flyer for the festival. But do you really get that many people?
Oh my God, yes. So when you say rogue, right? When you sound it, it sounds like the U's in front of it, like ROUGE.
Yeah, but I just for me it was I didn't even have to look it up. It just seemed like For me, it just seems like one of those words that I've always just spelled. I don't know.
You would be shocked. So one
I
story,
am
actually,
shocked.
these guys probably can relate to this. We were playing at Dubliner when it was open in Boca.
Yeah.
And remember they had that big chalkboard in the back, and they used to do like the big artwork and whatnot, and it was like elaborate artwork. It was like talent, right?
Right.
We get there, and it's huge across the whole back of the stage.
no.
It says
Rouge
Theory. And I was like, oh man, I feel so bad.
That
telling
looks
her.
great, but it's wrong. Erase.
Smart marks everywhere. Yeah, I mean, I guess actually across the pond, I guess Rogue is used more often than.
I guess. I mean, I know I've known the word, but I can see how you could mess it up. And Rouge Theory it's just not that cool of a name, is it?
It's not. It's actually a makeup company in
Absolutely
Philadelphia,
not.
so they get a lot of follows from us on accident.
That's
people
hilarious.
search for us, like, I guess they're selling makeup now. So.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So let's get into how you found yourself getting into music, Harry. Did you have a supportive family? Where did it all come from initially?
Yeah. Well, my family's always been involved in music in one way or the other. I mean, I was raised in church too, so that helps. You know how that goes. As soon as you walk in the door, they're like, "Here's a hymn book, sing something." So,
Yeah, for sure.
but yeah,
And actually, just to
Mhm.
butt in a little bit there, what I found is a lot of people who've come on the show who are good musicians and they understand harmony and stuff have had some roots in church of some kind, even if they don't do it anymore. You know, and me included. I had to go to church when I was young, and that was definitely a lot of the foundation of me understanding how to sing with other people comes from that, you know?
Yeah, and just your ear, I think it helps your ear too.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you're trying to, you're in a huge congregation of people and everybody's singing, and you start picking out on, oh, I like that person's voice, or I don't like that person's voice. You know, it's like, you kind of get that that kind of range of vocal experience, I guess, or auditory experience. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, totally. I think church in England and church in the US are probably pretty different, but I've still yet to go to one of these sort of mega churches where you have rock bands and things.
Oh, you got to go, man. It's an experience.
Those are fun.
It's an experience.
But besides that, I mean, my grandfather used to play violin on my mother's side, and that's how he ended up the violin in my hand. But I've been. I mean, just every time I try to get away from music, like it always pulls me back in. So when I was playing soccer for a long time and broke my knee, and then shortly after that, we went to playoffs in soccer, and then I broke my ankle, and my mom was like, "This is like God's way of telling you to maybe you should do music from now on," you know. So it kind of stuck with me. I can't really break anything playing violin.
I can't remember if you already said, but you Florida born and bred, or
born in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah, but raised between here and there. So I guess I smell more like oranges, I like to say, than Philly cheesesteaks. For sure.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Ryan? How did you find yourself getting into music? Did you have a support structure when you were growing up?
Yeah, I definitely. I knew when I was younger than middle school-ish age that I wanted to play saxophone, and I didn't know why.
Yeah.
And so
I had the exact same feeling.
I was in 5th grade. They gave me a little sheet, and they're like, pick your classes. I'm like, I can pick something, and it had band. I was like, I'm doing band. 6th grade, chose the alto, did alto from 6th to 9th grade, and then they asked me to be in marching band. I was like, I'm not doing that. That's totally lame.
Seems a little sweaty and awful.
Yeah, well, it's just like, you know what it was is they had to stay after school for many hours, and I was not into that because I was a terrible student. So I quit the sax, and Buddy started playing guitar, and I was like, hey, I could play music too. So then I started playing guitar, but nobody needed a guitar player, so then I ended up on bass, and here I am today.
God, I love the bass. I always say, you know, if I had to pick out of guitar, drums, and bass, one of them to take to a desert island, it might be the bass. I just do love it. It's such an interesting instrument, and just the fact that it binds the band together, you know, it's such an important role.
I would take my stand-up bass because then I can like hollow it out and like row my way back off the island. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's one of those things that bass, it was, at first you're kind of like reluctant because you're like, I'm the bass player, and there's all the jokes of the bass player, but in actuality, I've come to love the role of the bass player because it's kind of this binding moment where you have to take the rhythm and the melody and kind of put it together. And if you can do it well, people notice.
Oh, yeah.
And when you do it really well, people say there's something different.
Yeah.
And that to me is more of a compliment than you can ever get as a guitar player playing a cool solo.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? So,
yeah, and it's just knowing that it really relies upon you're having some taste and understanding when to let loose and exactly at the right time, and the rest of the time just holding everyone together, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing I take from band from many years ago, as my teacher once said, is saxes should be seen, never heard.
Right.
And it's kind of the same thing as a bass player. You should be seen, but nobody should know why you're up there. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah,
it's
yeah.
just because I just want to dance. All right,
Yeah, it
let's
just
do
locks into everything.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my goal always, is just be like, hey, how's it going? I'm here. You know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
The underlying groove.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just secretly binding everything together. I love that. What about you, Johnny? How do you find yourself playing music?
I think we've talked about this before, actually.
It's okay though. We
I
can
have
get into
a
it.
very combative way I got into music, because my dad, the musician, he played guitar, bass, drums, keys. He sang in church. He did the whole damn thing and wanted me to do it all too. And I wanted nothing to do with it.
Right.
I tried guitar for like a week, hated it. Tried drums for like 2 months. He was better than me. I didn't want to do it. My sister played piano and sang, didn't want to do it. And I just avoided music for like most of like my grade school life. Middle school, I wanted to be cool, so I got into hip hop.
Yeah.
And I still love hip hop. I
Yeah.
have no problems with hip hop. But I got into hip hop, and I got into, the whole G Unit movement, and then Lil Jon, the East Side Boys, and all that. And at one point in like 9th or 10th grade in like 2005, Lil Jon samples Ozzy, and he samples Crazy Train. And I hear that little da-da-na-na-na-na at the end, and I run up to my dad, Dad, what's that? And he just, Italian New York, red in the face. It's a fucking guitar. Goes up in the attic, gets the old dusty, broken, like half-scale guitar out and throws it at me. It says, learn it. And I was like, okay. Started doing that, and immediately after, Mom, I don't want to be an architect anymore. I just want to do this forever. And she's like, your dad did. You'll be all right. And that's pretty much how it happened.
That's wonderful. Runs in the family. Strong music genes. I love it. So, how long has Rogue Theory been a thing?
I think 10 years, I don't know. It could be 10 or 12. I'm not sure.
I was going to say, I think we're a little more than that now,
It might
bud.
be a little more than that. I'm not, honestly, I have a hard time with anniversaries in general. That's why I was single for such a long time.
December 12th, 2011.
But, but it was. Actually, we just celebrated the other day, I think last Tuesday, or this past weekend was the actually anniversary of when Preston had joined the band.
Right.
That was his first show, which I didn't know because I didn't have it on a calendar. But like I know that we've been together for about 10, 12 years. The unit has morphed in interesting ways and creative ways, which
As
is
it will
really
over
cool.
that time, yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I'm really proud to say. I mean, personally, I'm really proud of the fact that we've been able to have the same band name and same kind of groove going. Johnny's been with me probably the longest as far as more consistently, but I've played music with Ryan longer than anyone. Even before Rogue Theory, Ryan and I used to be filled with musical debauchery.
That's awesome. I think that as long as I've known you, Rogue Theory's been a thing.
Yeah.
The times at propaganda back in the day, and all of those crazy good times.
Yeah. The parts I remember were fantastic.
Yeah. All those weird impromptu jams that used to happen.
That was fun. But realistically, Ryan joined Rogue Theory. Rogue Theory initially was intended to be, in my mind, it was intended to be more of a studio band, like a band to write and to produce. And then we started playing live because we needed to make money.
Sure.
As we all do.
As we all do, right? So we started playing, and we got really busy. At one point, we actually had to replace our bass player, and Ryan was actually available for a travel show that we had to St. Lucia. So we went down there and played the show there, and pretty much the rest is history. I mean, we kind of just stuck together like glue. Different drummer. We had different sax guy, too, and we still know them, all love there. There's no which weird. Interestingly enough, you guys bands, you have like that one issue with somebody or something in a band, or egos clash or whatever, and people go their own way. But I will say, for the most part, we've done a really good job of navigating those kind of differences, and like everybody that used to play is still willing to play.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's got a bit dicey over the years with me, but I feel like now all the relationships that meant a huge amount to me at the time and still do, have kind of come back into, you know, I'm hanging out with everyone again, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, we're adults now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of growing up. I think it's that kind of like, as you get older and you look back and you're like, man, that was really awesome what I had there. Do I really want to just throw it away over something minuscule or whatever it is?
Yeah.
And you know,
Yeah.
and you know, I'm older, wiser. What could I do with it now? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. As my mum used to say, still does say, make new friends, but keep the old. These are silver, those are gold.
I like that, actually. It's a good lyric.
So,
Should probably write that down, Johnny.
So talking about...
Steal it.
there you go. Could be a new Rogue Theory song.
There you go.
Make new friends, but keep it... No, I can't.
I love it.
You're in. Ben's in.
I'm definitely going to try and play some mandolin with you guys at the festival.
Ah,
Oh,
nice.
please do.
So
Yeah.
one of the things that I personally enjoy, these guys hate it, is and I say this, you could correct me if I'm mistaken on this, but I feel like at one point in our playing time, you guys have both said, "I hate this. I don't want to do this," which is like where I like to invite people up to play all the time. And,
Yeah.
you know, you get happy at a show and then you get tired of your routine and whatnot, and somebody's like, "Oh, I play this," and I was like, "Awesome, come up here and play it." And if Ryan doesn't know it, he hates it, and if like, and I learned my lesson in the keys with a guy that came up and played Sublime. It was
Yeah, he knew what he was doing.
it was awful.
That's the
Yeah.
problem with live music at bars. I know how to play that
Yeah.
song.
But we've
Oh,
been surprised.
okay.
We've been so surprised in the past too, where people have
Yeah.
come up and like you go, "Okay, I don't know what this person does," and they'll sit at the drums or they'll play the bass or they'll play guitar, and they like, you know, surprise you because they just fit right in. You know.
You know, it's
beautiful.
funny. I used to be all about it, and I still am about it if I have at least a modicum of faith in the person. But I've also changed in the sense that I have no problem saying no either.
Oh yeah,
You
well
know,
we've
if it's
said
like-
we've
yeah.
definitely said no. I
Yeah.
think now because the evolution of the show, from you guys know this from like, you know, drunk days at like Kevros or like or like
Yeah.
or you know all these venues that you play at like Connolly's or something. You know, maybe you go there to forget. You know, you don't go
Right,
there.
yeah.
I'm gonna get paid to forget tonight. You know.
Yeah.
And you there's a little more leeway there. I think a little more of a green light for people to come up and say, you know, they feel like they're part of the group.
Yeah.
Now that the show's a little more set and we have like, so Rogue Theory's approach was always thinking, in my mind, was thinking like a DJ. So like,
Right.
I didn't want the music to stop necessarily because I just wanted the music to keep going, but because I'm terrible at talking in between songs. So I just don't do the announcement thing well. You know?
But it's also very impressive when you see a band and it's just a flow of music. I remember there was that period of time around the era of like Gogol Bordello and Flogging Molly and stuff like that.
God, yeah.
You'd go and see one of those bands and you'd walk in, they'd walk on stage, start playing, and then they would just play.
Yeah.
And the kick would just be like for like an hour straight, you know. Then they might stop somewhere in the middle to say something and then just keep going again.
Right.
You know? I think that's really cool.
We try to take classics and refresh them because South Florida's music scene down here, you know, whenever you play, there are certain songs that I would consider Florida standards that you have to know.
Sure.
Absolutely.
You know, so we try to take those and flip them on their heads. We've done some rearranging of classics or mashups that we love to put together.
What are we talking? I'm just curious.
Well, we do like War Pigs, for example, is one of my new favorites that we're doing. So,
Cool.
so years ago, we got a chance to play with Nico McBain from Iron Maiden,
Yeah.
drummer, right? And he has like a barbecue place, and
Eventually
Close
we'll
one.
get him on here.
yeah, well, it's not right. It's not like he flew over here from you know somewhere. He just drove up the street.
or something.
Right, yeah. So, but we were playing the 12 Guitars of Christmas for Gator. The Gator was hosting this at iBar in PGA.
Yep.
And we were playing with that had to be like 12 years ago. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And we played a show with him, and then we did the Trooper with him actually, and.
That's so awesome.
It was a really cool experience, honestly, to the point where at the end, you know, he was like, "I've never heard that on a fiddle." Sorry,
It's fine. Go for it.
I never heard. Okay, ready? I'm going all in.
I'm already loving it.
I never heard that in the fiddle. That's amazing. And then like give me a hug.
Oh, that's so
Pretty
cool.
good. It's pretty good. Pretty good English
Well,
accent.
you
too, I
don't
think.
mess around on the fiddle. It has to be said. You know what you're doing.
Ah,
on
thank
there.
you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think for the most part that experience, and then we just took that song and we mashed it into So we take a verse and a chorus, but we put it right in the middle of War Pigs, and which is pretty cool. Just because we used to do like Moana, theme song to Moana,
cool.
and then go right into War Pigs. So it was interesting watching just to see the demographic of people's heads turn. You know, like
a little bit of yin yang.
Like if it's a family place, like all these kids happen, and then when you start playing War Pigs, the kids kind of fade away, and all the bikers show up. You know what I mean? It's that kind of feel. So other mashups. I mean, we do like Watchtower into Stairway. We do. Which I'm pretty sure we did before Dave, honestly.
Yeah, we certainly did.
I'm not trying to be funny, but I think we did. I'm going to talk to Dave about that. I was kidding. And then we did, we used to do a hip-hop medley, and then we do like a rock medley. And it's kind of really cool because you're like, okay, we got like 7 minutes to kill.
Yeah, everyone loves a hip hop medley too. It's a great.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
it's
always fun.
It's a classic too because we all actually, he and I are fans of that same era, like G Unit and like Little John and stuff. So it's like, how can we make people kind of spin on their heads? Or we'll take actually one of my favorites too, Sweet Dreams into Biggie. Actually.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Which Biggie tune?
BIGPOPPA, no info for the DEA.
Sweet.
You guys know the song.
Yeah.
More money, more problems.
I think that's it,
yeah, that's awesome. So, earlier you were talking about how it was originally going to be a recording project and like, you know, writing songs and things like that. And does the band have a writing process? Like how do you guys write songs?
Okay, I'm actually really excited about this one because I was hoping you'd ask this.
Oh, great.
Because we don't know. and we don't know. No, some of the songs have come about from sound checks. Like so people that have come to see our show often know that the first thing that we do is kind of like us throwing pasta at the wall, see what sticks. Yeah. Let's get our levels right and whatnot. So some of them come from sound checks. Other songs have come like actually we revived some of the older songs too that Ryan had written his bass line for Firestarter and we had like back in the day with Escape Artist and we put that song together. We revived that one recently. Johnny put a song together, Lydia, where he brought his guitar parts and then we started adding melody and stuff. So we kind of helped build off each other. Sometimes some of the songs, you know, I'll bring a song sometimes be like, I really want to do this one, you know, and the structure's there, but actually having the arrangement with everybody's input and whatnot really seems to be more of a collaborative effort.
Yeah, okay.
So it takes a little longer because, you know what I mean? Like, you're kind of like,
I feel like we iron out the kinks in our songs just through playing them live a lot because, you know, you can only really understand how something feels and goes over when you're doing it in front of people.
Right.
So, you know, not always. Sometimes you just know, oh, that's awesome. But other times it's like, is it, you know, is that going to work? And then play it in front of people and you go, oh, no, it has to be this.
It evolves, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. I actually went the other way with it. It was with these guys. I was like, I don't want to play originals unless they start sounding as good as our covers.
Oh, hell yeah.
Or better. And it needs to be like second nature for us because you're presenting. It's very vulnerable for me. Like, you know, when you write your songs, you guys get it. So you write, you know, it's very like a vulnerable moment of putting yourself out there, putting your talent out there, your thoughts, your lyrics, your words, your emotions, all of that stuff into, you know, you're putting your heart and soul into something.
Yeah.
And then you have like, you know, some drunk asshole. I can say that, right? Yeah. Drunk asshole at the bar that's like 15 Guinnesses in and couple Jamesons or something, and he has no idea that it's your song, right? So, so it becomes this kind of like, who do we want to play for as far as appreciation for that? Because if not, we'll just play Sweet Child. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. Like we'll play, you know, we'll play some originals and stuff. We'll play a lot of originals actually, and we'll throw them in and you know, obviously, when we throw them in, the crowd erupts and they're cheering and whatever. You know, that's always amazing, and especially if there's people in the crowd that have heard it before and they're like singing along. That's amazing.
That's amazing.
But nothing is worse than playing an original, and then you hit that last note, and then you're standing there, and it's like crickets, and there's 200 people in the room, and it's crickets, and you're like, well, that sucks.
You know, it's funny though because you stick to it, right? Because you go back and you do it at another venue, and it might be crickets. But I've actually learned from my entertainment experiences that sometimes crickets isn't a bad thing. Like,
sure.
Like sometimes you'll get like, even if you get to that one or two people that come up to you later, the ones that have the courage to come up afterwards and go, so the third to the last song. Or like, wow, what was that? You know what I mean? And they want to know what it was.
Totally.
and-
We're not stand-up comedians. You know, we're playing
Yeah.
music. Sometimes music can affect you in a way where you sit back and you go, huh.
Right,
Yeah,
right. It's a little more pensive. I think
Yeah.
one of the things that I aspire to as a Rogue Theory band too is for the future is to continue writing songs like the direction that we're going in now seems a little bit more, first of all, mature. We're growing up, which
Yeah.
you know, and musically too, we're growing up and we've grown and we've evolved. But like, I think right now the whole writing a song on purpose. You know what I mean? Like with intent. Like, like not just being like, oh, cool, I got a jam riff thing we're doing.
Right,
You know, and I think that's where my head's at as far as like where our structure is going to be at for the next album that's coming out in March.
Are you thinking of making it? Is there any kind of through-running concept to the album? Like, it not in the sense that it's like a concept album, but is there like?
Yes, absolutely. It's ADD is the is ADHD is not. I mean, not on purpose, but it's like it's just what it is. It's
all over the place,
It's all over the
basically.
place.
Yeah.
Like we have a song that's like a ska song, another one's like. I mean, we're a rock band. If you were to say what genre, I have this problem a lot actually trying to define. You know, when you're trying to promote your band, where do we fall? And we are in the rock category, I believe, but we have a lot of sweet songs as well that are kind of more ballady.
There's all sorts of flavors in there. There's that kind of slightly bluegrassy country flavor in there. There's the funk flavors in there.
Yeah,
It's really
definitely
interesting.
funk.
Yeah. There's a lot of different stuff in the melting pot. It's really really great.
When we're plugged in, it's and it's rocking like with the horns and everything. It's it moves me in a certain way, and I hope it moves other people. Like I was reading recently about why we do things, and not how or what we do, but like why we do it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. We had a video clip of a show that we played at Sunfest, which is shared on Instagram, and there was this one moment.
Oh yeah! Congratulations, by the way. We've for last year. We tried to get on it this year and we didn't get it.
Wait, I thought you no.
No, we didn't.
We didn't either. So yeah.
So if anyone's listening to this and does the Sunfest, have us on next year. Dropkick Murphys are playing.
Yeah.
And we're not support. Why are we? Come on, guys. Anyway.
I second that with you. I don't know. There's nothing. You should have Killbillies on.
We're not better.
If our word has anything to say, Killbillies should play Sunfest. We're making decisions.
Exactly.
Moving forward. No, I think realistically the exciting thing about something like that was seeing side shots, because obviously you're playing, you can't film yourself, right? So like seeing a side shot that was there of the show, and there was a moment where we got to a build in the song, and then it drops off like a clean cutoff, and you could hear the crowd like in the video too, and like even Johnny actually on one part he's like woo, like you could hear like it was kind of blew you away, you know, being able to do shows like that. And those are the kind of shows that obviously we all want to do, but but that moment, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That one moment where it helps you realize that you're doing something right.
Yeah, and sometimes you just the band and the audience and the music just feel connected.
It's there.
You just get that moment. You just
that chemistry though.
yeah.
I think if there had to be a theme, if I was like forced to, you're gonna die if you don't, like, you know, that kind of thing. I would say it's it's like mindfulness. I think there's like mindfulness of your present, because your past and your future aren't promised. So it's kind of like that whole, you know, and it's kind of follows our journey too of love and loss and triumphs and glory, and having somebody be there for you, being there for someone else as well. Yeah. I think that matters more. We try to stay away from like love songs, if you will. You know,
sure,
it's so hard, right, to write a song and just like.
Well, you know what? I probably write one an album. Like I try and stay away from them too.
It's hard. It's hard to pick a topic outside of that, because you're doing something that you're passionate about, that you love, that you enjoy, and you want people to love it too. So, you know, you kind of have that that relationship. How do you build that relationship with topics that are not,
you know what,
that obvious?
I find it works best for me writing love songs if there's also another thing in the song, a story about something else. Like, so there's some love involved in it, but it's not like it's not the main thrust.
Right.
You know what I mean? I've had actually quite a lot of lyrical luck kind of trying to bring two separate elements together and kind of just see how they interact with each other in a song. So when you are who, by the way, writes the lyrics in the band?
I do.
Yeah.
It's definitely been some. It's interesting because they never work out the same way. So like for Here For You, those lyrics had come out before as a poem before years ago, and it just kind of fit to that melody.
Yeah.
So, and then other times it's been on the spot, and that's okay. This seems like a good theme. Start with that theme and then build off of it.
Yeah.
Other times it's literally just like 2/3. Like it's just like like two-sided coin living a three-sided life. That's how I felt at that time.
Yeah.
Like you ever flip the coin, it lands like this.
Yeah.
It lands like on its side.
That's superposition.
You're right. It happened to me. You feel like a superhero. And it happened to me one day, and I was like, that's how I feel right there. It's not heads or tails. It's like I feel like I'm right there. You know what I mean? Like we're on that edge. So that's where that's
a cool lyric.
From, yeah.
I love that.
Oh, thank you.
So you're writing the lyrics. When it comes to the music, it's just a kind of a big mashup between all of you and different every time. Or
Yeah, well, we've done some of the songs that we've revived recently. Like we took the second verse of "On My Mind" and we changed that up, right? I mean, we've taken like songs and rearranged them with our own level of musical maturity, I guess, since it's been growing.
And then the other question I wanted to ask was, in terms of recording, firstly, do you guys have your own setups at home for demoing, etc.? And also, are you when it comes to the album and the songs that you're producing, are you producing them in-house or are you going to a studio?
Personally, we try to do as many things out of the box as possible.
Sure.
So, like, if we can get, each of us has our own rig at home to record remotely if we need to go direct. But like, for drums, obviously, some of the programming that Garrett does. Garrett's our drummer. He's not here. So, hi, Garrett.
Hey, Garrett.
What's up, Keeler? It's so he's pretty good at setting up MIDI drums or whatnot. And then personally, I like for some of the songs to have that live sound, so we'll book some studio time for the drums, vocals in the studio, live, like acoustic violin in the studio.
Where would you be? Where have you been recording lately? Like which studios?
My personal favorite, I'm afraid to say, because I don't want anybody else to go there. It's hard to get time there right now. It is, but it's a positive thing. It's a really positive. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's a really good engineer.
Is it in this area or is it in?
No, it is. It's Power Station. So,
there you go.
Yeah.
I'm going there on Sunday.
Nice. Yeah, I love that space. I love the vibe in there. We've all had a chance to go record in some pretty amazing studios. Like we recorded our first 4 songs at Dark Horse in Nashville.
Nice.
It was like a cathedral. It was like Hogwarts and like the Shire had a baby, and there was a barn with a microphone inside. You know what I mean? It was a really cool experience. So that was, we've had a chance to do that, but always the engineer, I've noticed, it doesn't matter the location as much as the engineer has your back. And
that's a big part of it.
And if they're fast, if they're, you know what I mean?
That's everything, honestly.
Oh my God, if they're competent.
Engineer is essentially your sound.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what board you're using, doesn't matter what guitar or amp you're using. Like, I've had issues like in the past where I work with somebody at their house and it sounds better than going into some multi-million-dollar studio. Because, I want to have these frequencies shine through, but they're thinking, but I've always done it this way, and you're like, but that's not what the sound that I'm used to. I come from this idea that if I'm playing live, everything's dialed in the way we're Picasso painting that picture. And if we're doing the same thing in the studio, we're still Picasso painting that picture. Now you got your cousin who's coming in and like, well, I don't know, maybe we should do this here. And it gets really sketchy. So the engineer, to me, is like literally like the most important piece of that recording aspect.
And recently I had an experience with an engineer who wasn't particularly good at the editing side of it. And it was just unbelievably infuriating. It was because these days so many people are so quick at it. I was like, how do you not know how to do that?
You get the idea, right? You're singing, right? So you get the idea, and sometimes, like, as soon as the wrong note or word comes out, you're like, I need that back. Like, give it to me again. And if the engineer goes, okay, got you, 1 second.
Well, I suppose my point was that, and actually it was in a situation where we were using. It was in a kind of an old school setting. It was meant to be in an old school setting, but the digital side of the place was. It's like it was his first time using Pro Tools. It was just brutal.
Yeah,
But,
well, it's time too. I mean, you're paying for this time.
Yeah.
So an engineer that can respect that and can move at that pace with you, you're getting your money's worth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it actually makes you want to extend your time or work longer because you feel inspired to keep going. So
I bet you there's the other side of the coin as well. I bet because we do all have our own home studios, the engineers are like, oh, everyone's an expert.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I gotta be honest, man. Like I go into a studio and I'm just like, look, man, I'm here to do this.
Yeah.
This is what I'm here to do. Let me get this done, and then let you push the buttons. We do the syncing. You know what I mean? I don't like to step on her toes because it slows them down.
No, absolutely, and I think that's wise. So, when it comes to the South Florida music scene, have you had good experiences down here? How do you feel about it?
That's a loaded question.
Just focus on the positive.
Yeah. Yes and no. Oh God.
You want me to take this or?
Well, I think we could all speak on this.
Yeah.
I think so. I see the South Florida music scene. First of all, there's a lot of talent down here. Let's just start with that. There is. There's a lot of unheard talent as well, which is something that we appreciate why you guys are doing what you're doing. Seriously, because people need an outlet, which is absolutely important. The music scene down here, where do you start? Like, I mean, venues alone. I mean, there were. Before 2020, there was a lot of venues, right? And now we're talking about a certain slim venues. I know you guys are doing more stuff up north, and there's still some places that are holding steady and being strong and great and whatnot. But places like Culture Room or like, these kind of closed off to the South Florida scene just because they're a Live Nation room. Like, you know what I mean? Like it kind of is like, well, that's our local. Like you guys are killing our medium-sized venue for the local acts to be able to perform there. It's really frustrating.
Yeah.
So like having places like Matthews that can step up and have the right stage, have the right lights, have the right sound. That really helps. It's really encouraging. I have liked the camaraderie that's always been down here. There's very few like, oh, I don't want to go see that band. Very few of that, and but we've been doing this for so long down here. We've seen places come and go. We've seen the energy shift.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think you summed it up pretty well, honestly. It's just a matter of community, and I think the musicians in terms of community have done really well, kind of sticking together. I haven't seen Ben here in years, but I have you on my Facebook feed.
I know. I feel like we have, even though we haven't seen each other.
Exactly. And so it's like, I think that's what really matters. And, the fact that you guys went and made this podcast and then not on top of that, then now you're doing your own festival. You're like, Sunfest? What's that? Originally Sunfest was that local, we want everyone. And then they still have that aspect, but it's grown. And that's what we all want to do is we want to grow, but we also want to have the tide raise all the boats.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think as musicians, if we just kind of keep our heads together, we will do that together. And I've noticed that from the very first time I ever played a show at Propaganda before anything was done in that room. It was like, what's going on here? And then 10, 15 years later, now look at it. It's a whole community of people. And I remember when they were doing the festivals out in the street, and they had the big bands coming in. It was like, whoa, this is cool. They were bringing national acts in. It's just, I think it's just keep your head down, keep moving, and keep the community together. And we've got this.
Yeah, for sure. It's exactly right. You want the tide to raise all the boats. That's it. And that takes a little bit of sort of integrity on the part of people who are involved in it. One of the things that I've been thinking about quite recently, which is quite sort of a serious topic to me, is the quality of music being played in Florida and how good the music is. Is entirely dependent on the people who are playing it. And so it's like, if I want there to be more original music and more original acts out there, got to make more original music and put on more original shows. It's really as simple as that.
You have to produce. Like, you have to produce. Like, I think right now, our biggest push is produce. It's just like, you know, not just do the shows, because let's be honest, down here it's easy to put a band together in a way, maybe not easy is not the right word, but it's a little more facilitated for you to put a band together and get a show, you know, to book somewhere. There's always going to be a place that requires live music, and they don't really care if you're good or not. You know, but there's that being said, like, I think there's a lot of venues out there to be able to make a consistent living as a musician down here, if you're willing to travel, if you're willing to, you know, do your stuff, as opposed to Nashville, which is not that way. You can make a living there, but you have to pay a lot more, and you're playing on tips. So there is kind of that guarantee, which is fantastic. I love it down here with people. Personally, I feel like the communication amongst the bands and the groups that are out there, if it wasn't for certain individuals that have played with all these people, you know, because you go see a band, you're like, oh, like Ryan. Like, you see Ryan play like 14.
Oh, that guy again.
Yeah, right? It was like, what band are you in? Like, you play with like everybody, you know, so you start seeing that kind of like leaning on each other. We're short on this guy. We need this. And that kind of support to me is what makes it exciting in a way, you know, like that's the positive for me.
I grew up down here, and so I've seen venues come and go. I think the biggest thing right now for original bands, and in my opinion, is there's not as many venues as there was once upon a time that support. Not that they don't support local music, but rather don't support original bands.
Right.
A lot of these venues, you know, they want the band that's coming in and playing 3 and 4 hours worth of covers, because that's what they think their patrons want to hear. And so, you know, they'll pay you to do that. And a lot of musicians do that, and no knocking on that at all. I mean, we do it, you know, it's how you make a living down here as a musician, you know? But you know, outside of like, say, like Respectables or Propaganda, you know, Matthews now does, you know, original bands every now and then and stuff. Like, outside of these, you know, small handful of venues, the problem is, you know, you talk to these venue owners, and they don't see the value in the original shows.
Well,
but
I think something Ricky was saying, I think something Ricky does, Ricky Belief, and something that I agree with, and I want to try and do more of, is kind of change that paradigm to where you're taking that slot and you're guaranteeing people, but it may be instead of it being one band playing 3 or 4 hours, you had 2 or 3 bands, you know.
We've done that too, but
we've done a bit of that, and the problem is the money.
Yeah, the money.
But then if you can, but you know, if you can promote it properly, you could get more people in there, you know, and then maybe up the money, you know.
I just think like something that I would like to encourage local bands to do. I mean, for us, it's difficult to do as well, because our lives as adults now everybody's taken their own journeys. Like, you know, teaching. I'm teaching too. We all teach. We're all involved in education one way or the other.
Sure, me too.
In a band. But like, I would love to like do some labor of love kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Either supporting a cause, or like, you know, a venue like that could use the love, you know what I mean, and just be like, hey, we're just gonna pack this place. So
yeah, man.
That's one of the things we're looking forward to at Brewhouse. We actually were the first band ever play at Brewhouse.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I know.
That's cool.
Crazy.
I love that place.
Yeah, now they have like that. You know, before they had the little stage, they had like that weird light, like palm tree light and stuff. Yeah. So like, you know, it's kind of like not forgetting where you played at just because you're getting paid better elsewhere or whatever. If you're just thinking of the bottom line, then you're missing the why you're doing this. And I'd like to refocus, get us
on the motivations. I feel that. So when it comes to like practicing your instrument, do you still practice on your own?
Johnny?
Does teaching count as practice?
I think so.
I guess.
I mean, I relearned how to read music recently, because when's the last time I looked at like a treble clef? Since
that
college.
counts.
So yeah, thanks. So I've thought a lot about it, especially like we have the horn players that we play with at some of the bigger shows. Yeah. We played at Ransom and Marcus recently, and we'll do a jazz tune, and I'll fumble my way through a solo. I got some cool lines sometimes. Depends on the day. And then you hear the improv that comes out of really, really well practiced, really well prepared, and just really, really engrossed in the style. Yeah. And you're like, Well, I need to stay up all night. This is not acceptable.
How do I keep up?
Unless you're playing jazz solos on your guitar, blowing lines, you're not engrossed in the scene enough.
Yeah,
That's the real jazz right there.
that's us, man. Every time James or I do something wacky, we all look at each other. We're like, jazzy.
Yep.
I thought you were going to say, that's us. Ben and his coke is a real problem.
It's the only way to play jazz. No, Ryan, do you practice?
I only have to practice when I have to learn new songs.
He's a bass player. He doesn't have to practice. We all have natural talent.
The thing is I had a regiment. Like when I wasn't really in bands playing live that often, I would be like, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to learn this song because it has these techniques that is going to allow me to do this.
You do it a lot.
I used to do that. And then I decided that I need to teach full time at a high school and want to join 5 bands and work at a restaurant. And now I have only time to sleep and do those 3 things.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm called upon, I sat in for Spread the Dub a few weeks back. I spent 2 weeks just listening to Spread the Dub over and over and over. So was I practicing? Yes. Spread the Dub music.
Well, if you've been playing for, as long as we have, you can practice by listening to music.
Yeah, and
it's not like it not necessarily goes all the way,
right?
But it goes a long part of the way because the feel and the and this, you're getting the feel, you're getting the structure, you're getting all of this stuff, you're getting the general vibe of it, and there might be bits of it where you actually have to sit and figure it out. But when it comes to like the chords and stuff, I mean, we're past that.
I think a big part of it is as a bass player, it's if I'm doing session work, I need to make sure that I'm fulfilling the role that I'm filling.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is a practice.
Yeah.
And that's when I fill in. I've done a couple other session works for like just random cover stuff. I have to learn Nickelback songs, and I want to kill myself.
Oh man.
Yeah, it
because
was
they're
awful.
so amazing.
Yes,
I love Nickelback.
Yeah, but you know what? The thing is you got to sit down and you got to do it, and just because I don't want to do it, doesn't mean I shouldn't. I want to get up there, and I want to give the audience and give the bandmates that I may always play with or never play with the best version of me.
Hell yeah, dude!
And
of course.
And
whenever you're ready to bring that to our shows, we
wow.
Which door? The store's covered.
But
that's the thing about practice is like, what kind of practice do you want? Because a lot of people get caught up with the theory and all that is great, but what about practicing understanding how your amp works? Or how your pedals work together. Because there's days where I literally sat down, I'm like, all right, I got this new pedal, it's going to be great. And then you get to the show and you're like, I should have played with this way more before I got up here.
Ben's looking at me because he got me a pedal for Christmas that I probably have only touched like twice.
Yeah.
and I've yet to bring to a show.
So like, what practice do you want? Do you want to practice your gear? Do you want to practice your technique or your theory? So literally, and that's why being a musician is a lifelong endeavor. You know what I mean? That's really
to kind of touch on something that was interesting too. Like, what do you want to practice? Like, after your question, setting time aside outside of playing notes is so valuable for when you're playing as consistently as we are every weekend. Like, checking your cables. I mean, silly things like that. Like, you get to a show and you plug in, you're just like, this isn't working. Yeah. What is happening? Or your batteries, making sure you have the right batteries. Like, all of that, in my mind, is part of practice.
Yeah. Well, it's good practice.
It's good practice. Yeah. Well, you're practicing for a show. You're practicing like more so than the notes you're playing. You're practicing everything around that. And I think for me practicing. For me, practicing, since I teach music to the kids, that's kind of my practice. Honestly, I run through scales with the kids.
Tell me about it.
Oh my God, seriously. I run through scales every day with them.
Add a note in here, change battery.
It's a reminder for sure. And that's kind of my practice. But I will say, I do leave my instrument cases open. I leave them on the walls.
Yeah, that's important.
You know what I mean? I leave my bows are rosined up. They're ready to go. I don't always touch them, but when I do touch it, I feel confident that I'm ready to go.
Sure.
No, that's important. That's important.
I've been practicing my hurdy-gurdy like it's going out of style. In all fairness, the hurdy-gurdy has been out of style for a very long time. But I've been practicing it like crazy, trying to get better at it. So right now I'm practicing a ton. But it's a shame because I'm sort of on this trajectory with my guitar as well, but that's had to take a bit of a backseat, at least until after St. Patrick's Day, because I've got to bust that thing.
I just practice my bass face. That's it.
Nice.
Right? You gotta have good bass face, right?
Get that
Always, man.
He doesn't practice it. He's very perfected it.
Yeah.
Resting bass face.
It's a 24/7 bass face.
Just the real RBF. That's what it is. That's what it is. All right. Now we know. We know.
All right. I think it might actually be a good opportunity now for us to see this resting bass face. Why don't you go play us a couple of tunes?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
When I move, sometimes I wreak havoc. Then I think, oh, I make magic too. When you're in a groove, sometimes I'm savage. Then I think, oh, I can be nice too. 'Cause I'm a two-sided coin, living a three-sided life. Wondering what I did for joy when I'm throwing out my dice. 'Cause I can't stop wondering if what I do is wrong. 'Cause it just feels so right. When you're in the mood, oh, sometimes I panic. That's just 'cause I'm crazy about you. I'm hard to read when I'm full speed. Let the song sing for me. You and I start to feel free, yeah. And I said, yeah, 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 yeah. I feel good, so I say yes. Take my hand and take a chance. Come on, lady, Lord, say yeah. Take the time to hit rewind. Learn something from this crazy life. Live wild, stay proud, make your body loud now. Gamble a little, but win a lot. You only lose when you think you lost. Now it's time to take a bow wow. Oh yeah, I'm a two-sided coin, living a three-sided life. Wondering what I did for joy when I'm throwing out my dice. 'Cause I can't stop wondering if what I do is wrong. 'Cause it just feels so right. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. I feel good, so I say yes. Take my hand and take a chance. Come on, lady, look, say yeah. I'm a two-sided coin, living a three-sided life. Wondering what I did for joy when I'm throwing out my dice. 'Cause I can't stop wondering if what I did was wrong. 'Cause it just feels so right, yeah. From a spark into a flame, feel the heat
on my face. We burn, and they ask us to come our ways, but we can't stop until you know the words. Can't you see that we are fire starters? When we light it up, we hit it harder, and we're here, so let's get it started. Let's go, let's go. Now you see we're here to stay. Here we go and claim our ways. Light your way with your fire. Fire, light the torch inside your chest. Let the past go with every breath and light your way with your fire. Fire, can't you see that we are fire starters? When we light it up, we hit it harder, and we're here, so let's get it started. Let's go, let's go. Can't you see that we are fire starters? When we light it up, we hit it harder, and we're here, so let's get it started. Let's go, let's go. Now you see we're here to stay. Here we go and claim our days. Light this way with this fire. Fire, light the torch inside your chest. Let the past go with every breath. Light your way with your fire. Your fire. Can't you see me on fire so I can start my day? Yeah. Let's ready, let's go. Can't you see that we are fire starters? When we light it up, we hit it harder. And we're here, so let's get it started. Let's go, let's go.
This episode and our festival are sponsored by Pure Honey magazine, and it is a staple down here. It's been just such a resource for South Florida music scene. Why don't you tell us a little bit about them, Ollie?
Yes, back in 2011, they went old school with the physical zine that provides both a service to the South Florida scene and a vehicle for businesses to get their messages out to a growing segment of readers who continue to embrace and admire a retro product.
Yeah, it's really cool. I don't know if you've ever read Pure Honey magazine. I'm sure you have. They're all over the place, and they're really great.
Yeah. Pure Honey has been around for quite a while now, and it is an absolute resource for musicians, for music, for shows. They have an amazing online calendar. They have an amazing calendar in the physical magazine. It's just been a huge resource for shows and musicians. And we are very, very fortunate. They reached out to us when they saw we were doing our festival for the second time this year, and they reached out to us and immediately said, we want to sponsor. How do we get involved? So having someone like Pure Honey involved in 561 Music Festival is absolutely gold to us.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes us feel official. So thank you, Pure Honey. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much, and big props to Pure Honey for stepping up and sponsoring us. This episode and the festival are also sponsored by Backsaver Chiropractic Care and Therapy. These guys are absolutely amazing. Dr. Christopher White over there, great chiropractor, amazing just individual, amazing person, huge supporter of the arts and the local music scene. They were one of the very few sponsors, one of the only almost sponsors that we had for the first festival. When we had the first festival, Dr. Chris White stepped up to the plate and said, "How do I get involved? I'm going to do this. Let's do this." And was one of the purchased one of the top tier sponsorships that we had for the festival last year.
So kind. we couldn't have done it without it. It really saved us. So, we really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And this year, when we announced the festival, I don't think I had even finished the announcement that the festival was going to happen. And he was reaching out again. How do I get involved? Let's do this again. And once again, they are our top tier sponsor. So, thank you very much to Chris and his whole team over there. If you guys are involved in an auto accident or any personal injury issues, you have back issues, anything like that, go see Dr. Chris White. He's absolutely amazing, and Backsaver. Those guys are all amazing over there. They do the massage therapy, they do the adjustments on your back, anything like that. So definitely go check them out and tell them we sent you, and tell them thank you for being huge sponsors of local music.
Yeah, excellent chiropractors and also patrons of the arts. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
561 Music is brought to you by Handlebars Bar and Grill. It's a biker bar in Tequesta, and if you're driving up US 1, you come across it on the right-hand side. It's a little bar there. It's bright yellow. You can't miss it, with the handlebars on the sign. And it has a long and storied history. It's been there. It used to be called Judy's, and it was run by this guy Victor, who sadly passed this year, R.I.P. Victor. And then my father-in-law took it over, and he's doing a great job up there. There is a bike night every second Thursday of the month, and there is a jam every fourth Sunday of the month. If you're interested in that kind of thing, it's just an all-inclusive, any kind of music, any style, any ability type of a jam. And there's great beers on tap, and they're wonderful food. Bernsey, the chef, does a fantastic job. If you're interested in classic cars or classic bikes, there's always that kind of stuff hanging around there. It attracts that sort of a crowd because it's called Handlebars Bar and Grill, so it makes sense. And you should come swing by. It's definitely a local spot and has a lot of character, and there's people who have been going there for decades and decades. It's one of those places that's a part of the furniture in Tequesta, and you should definitely come check it out. I booked the music for the place and love doing it, and I was a part of helping set the place up, and I'm a huge fan, and anyone who is interested in biker bars, or even if you've just never been to one and you're curious about what a biker bar is about, you should go and check out Handlebars Bar and Grill. We are also sponsored by Oasis Root. Now, Oasis Root Carver Bar is in Seagrape Square on Indian Town Road, and it is a carver bar. If you don't know anything about carver, it's a Polynesian root that you grind up and you mix with water, and it has been in Polynesia for potentially thousands of years. It's an old thing that they used for kind of ceremonial and also sort of leisure purposes. It's meant to be something where that brings people together. You all take a shell of carver and chink them together and say bula and have it together like that. It's meant to be something to bring people together. It's has a kind of an effect, which is, I guess, a kind of a slightly warming effect. It just kind of makes you feel nice. It's not particularly intoxicating. It's not like drinking alcohol. So the atmosphere in a carver bar is sort of like a cross between a regular bar and a coffee house. It's pretty chill in there. You get all sorts of different types of carver bars. Some of them are more like a club, there's sort of like blacklight and EDM playing, and some of them are more like a cafe. This is one of the cafe type of ones. It's super chill in there. If you're looking for somewhere to, I don't know, maybe go and do some work on your laptop or go and have a chat with friends, it's perfect for that kind of thing. There's a foosball table in there if that's your jam, or baby-foot as they call it in France. And Jim, the owner, is a really cool guy, and he has very kindly sponsored our podcast. So thank you very, very much for that, Jim. They also do a poker night in there, all sorts of things going on at Oasis Root Carver Bar. 561 Music is sponsored by Live Music Community. It's where we film the podcast that you're listening to right now, and it's also where I work. Gavin, Hector's son, was a student here for a long time, and in many ways he's the musician he is today because of the teachers at Live Music Community. We taught him not only about his instrument, but also about being in a band, and his band, Unemployed Youth, accomplished a lot of goals, mostly band etiquette, how to work together, and all of the nitty-gritty that goes into being in a band on a day-to-day basis. The student signs up for lessons, learns their instrument, joins a real band, and decides the direction it goes in. And we can take people from very young age, 6 or 7 years old, all the way up to 80. There's no age limit here. We run an adult program for people who want to be in a band as adults, but really the main focus is on the kids and getting them playing together and in bands. We are also a studio, a live stream venue, and we can record audio or video. The Killbillies live album, Warts and All, was recorded here. It was recorded during a live stream that we did during COVID. Justin had a great idea to record live streams during COVID. A ton of bands came in, and it was a real success. But outside of that, we can record albums, we can help you with your EPK, and we have full audio-visual capabilities here. LMC is in Palm Beach Gardens on the northwest corner of Military Trail and North Lake Boulevard. It's north of the gas station, right before you get to North Lake on Military Trail. And if you go to livemusiccommunity.com, you have all the information you'll need right there. Thanks. So we've just listened to an ad for Live Music Community, which is where we're sitting right now. It's the place that I work, and it is a music school, among many other things. And what we try and do at Live Music Community is help upcoming musicians. And so I was wondering, do you have any advice for people getting into the music game?
If you don't love it, do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. If you are an impatient person, or if you feel as though you have a passion for anything else, you should
I'm out.
you should pursue. Well, not necessarily. I mean, you could share passions, right? But I mean, as far as music industry, not so much playing music. Anybody can play music. Everybody should play music, honestly. But like as far as like if you want to pursue this as a career, like we have, or even pursue this with ambitions to travel, or to tour, or to release an album, or to just produce or write music. I'm not saying don't write. You should definitely write. But if you're planning on doing this to get checks and to pay your bills and whatnot, and you're not loving it, do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're taking up space for people that really are passionate, and also at the end of the day, you're not feeding your soul. So yeah, why do it?
That's good advice. Anyone else?
I think it's about building relationships. Something that I've come to learn over the years is some of the best venues, gigs, whatever you want to call them, and experiences are through the relationships that you build within the community. That, and also think about your ego. Sometimes we forget and we lose ourselves, whether it's on or off stage, in a practice room, or even by ourselves. Sometimes we get down on ourselves. I can't learn the song, or I'll never be able to play this song. There's so many times where I thought that, and then I come back to something and I knock it out of the park, and I go, oh, I always had it in me. I just had to keep going.
Yeah.
I think keep going is probably the biggest advice I could give to any up-and-coming young musician, especially people who are like, I can't play an F major bar chord. It's okay. We all couldn't.
I was just going to say, it does actually kind of suck to play an F major bar chord.
That's why I picked that one in specifically. That's why I picked that one specifically. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just keep going. Don't stop, even if you feel that you want to. And you know what? If you need to take a break. Come back to it, because sometimes that break is part of the practice. Break is practice. Space is needed in music.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Some good advice. Got anything for us?
Piggybacking a little bit off of both of you guys, one of the biggest things I learned, because I joined this band relatively young. I joined Rogue Theory at like 22.
Yeah.
And based on the story I told before, that would mean I played for like 6 years before I joined this band and sold my soul. But
traded.
One of
bartered.
That's more appropriate. One of the biggest things I learned from you was joy's in the work.
Yeah.
And we all forget it sometimes.
Yeah.
That is one of the biggest killers for a lot of people in music, is that they're not at this checkpoint they put themselves at. But really, making it isn't getting to that checkpoint. It's continuing to do stuff after that checkpoint.
Yeah.
Everyone at this table has played that show that a lot of people aspire to play. We've all been on a stage in front of the amount of people that we said, oh, I just need to be in front of this amount of people, or just record this song, or just do this thing. And that's all great, and celebrate those accomplishments. But then the work continues.
Yeah.
And that's making it, is if you continue to do these things and you continue to find success, whether it's financial success or whether it's emotional success, whatever it is, if you're making the relationships with the people you want to make the relationships with, if you are able to express yourself in a way you previously couldn't, because I'm not a talker.
Yeah.
But when I play, I feel like that's who I am.
Yeah.
And that's especially for the younger people who are listening, hopefully. Hopefully not to all of it, because we definitely cursed on this program. But yeah, that's one of the biggest things I am really a fan of, and kind of push music to any student or anybody I talk to about it.
Actually, it's funny you said, making it, and we've all had this conversation before at one point, like, what does that look like? What does success look like? For me, it's not about success, it's about progress. So like, if you're not making progress, then that means you're not making it. Like, if you're not making music, then you're not making it. So you could sit at home and you could play shows. Like, we were playing like 18 shows a month at one point, and burnout was real. We were feeling that way. So we stopped writing, we stopped practicing, we stopped producing. So yeah, we were making a check, but that was a result of getting booked, right? But we weren't elevating anywhere. Like, it wasn't feeding our soul, And we've all had those gigs where, like, when you leave there, you feel like you left a piece of your soul there, yeah.
And to add to that, actually, so I'm sure we're all familiar with the Pixar movie Soul, which is all about being a musician. But there was one moment, it hit me right in the heart, and I almost fell over in my chair, because like the whole time he's the main character's wanting to be a jazz musician. He's a teacher. He's miserable. He hates his life. Sounds like me. But he has this like conundrum. I'm not happy, I'm not satisfied because I'm not playing with this group or at this venue. And then he finally gets to sit in, and at the end of the movie, and he's like, so what's it like to make it? And the lady turns to him and he's like, honey, what are you talking about? And he goes, what do you mean? And she goes, think of it this way. If you're a fish on the coral reef and you're like, I can't wait to go out to the ocean, and the other fish says, you're already in the ocean, you're doing it, this is it, you made it.
Yeah.
We're doing it. We're making a living, if that means giving lessons on the side, if that means making a podcast about music in the local community, if that means teaching music at a high school or at a middle school, that's it. You're doing your musicianship. That's it. You're sharing your talent, your love, your knowledge.
Absolutely. Feel exactly the same way.
And we forget, because we see national acts and we go, oh, that's what it's supposed to be. And we forget that's the lottery.
Yeah.
That's the lottery. You know what I mean? And if you're lucky enough to get onto the supporting acts or even become one of those nationals, that's great. But even on their off time, you know what they're doing? Probably teaching, probably thinking about music in other ways, producing.
Totally. And that's something I learned, when you sort of get to peer behind the veil and you get to know some of those people, you realize your lives aren't that different. They're pretty much the same, honestly.
Yeah, I had that big come to Jesus moment when my buddy Andy, shout out to Andy, he's talking about this band Dead to Me. Oh my God, and we were covering their songs and playing and singing them to the stars, right? And then he tells me, oh yeah, the bass player is a busboy. And I'm thinking to myself, oh. I go, oh, they're people too. And this was years ago, obviously. I was young and I realized you can do things other than music and feed that monster of like, I need to be on stage, I need to perform, I need to have fun with my friends, I need to learn my instrument. I think that's the key to success.
We've had this conversation on here.
Mental acuity.
Yeah, we've had this conversation on here quite a bit, actually, of what is making it look like, and it's different for everybody, obviously. But you like you said, you have those national acts that they're touring, they're making money, they're doing their thing or whatever, and then you have people like us that are playing and we're making money locally, and it's like, can you say that we haven't made it? No, I mean, we're all making money playing music, we're all enjoying it, and we're all, like you said, we're all progressing, we're all writing. As far as I'm concerned, that's making it at a different level, but it's still making it.
Well, it's just it's something, and I've said this before in here as well. But James, says the difference between someone who's making music and someone who isn't is whether you're still doing it or not. You just got to keep doing it. You know, that's what it is.
Yeah, you can't give up. It's we recorded at what used to be Critical, I guess, Miami Recording Beach Studios down there, and the engineer and now owner of the studio, he told me, he's like, I've seen you guys doing your thing for a while now, and he's like, I just I commend you guys because the last man standing is the one that's
I've
winning.
That too.
The last man standing. Keep going. Just keep doing what you guys are doing. Challenge yourself. I think that's really important. I think we get it's so easy to fall into a routine down here, and to have your fans that support you at certain venues, and you feel obligated to have to play there to keep up with them and whatnot. But take that break. Like, we took a break. We needed a break, and we took a break. I mean, I literally moved out of the state to get a break. And the things that were feeding my soul was coming back here and playing those venues, and actually cutting out how often we were playing for us at the time was really beneficial, because we got a chance to focus on, okay, what are we trying to produce? What are we trying to put forward? What kind of energy are we putting into the show? Every show now has more of a soul and more of a life to it, because we're not doing it as often, for one, and B, we're all fortunate enough to be in a position where we don't have to. And before, we had to. Like, if we wanted to make rent, we had to play. Like, we've all actually lived together at one point or another, I think. And so we've all known, like, okay, man, we got to get this show. We got to do this. And how much is it? Oh, it's it's going to be like $75 a man or $100 a man or whatever happens to be. We got to take it, because otherwise I don't eat this week. So we've all been there. The struggle is part of the journey, and if you don't embrace it, like we said, the joy is in the work. Like, if you don't embrace, that's why I say, if you don't love it, do something else.
No, I think there's a lot of really, really good advice there, and this is one of my favorite. We do this every week, and this is definitely one of my favorite ones. I think there's a lot to be gleaned from there. If there's any young musicians listening, there was some sense said around this table over the last 5-10 minutes. So we've got some gear to talk about. Why don't we take a look at some of these pictures?
We got pictures.
What's this?
Do you want me to tell you? Or you guys want to take a wild guess?
It's an axe.
It is. It's a tomahawk, right? I actually call my violins tomahawks because guitar players call them axes. So I figured it looks like a throwing axe. That is actually the line violin from 3D Various. It is a company that we met at NAMM, North American Music Merchants, if anybody doesn't know what that is. And they had a small booth, went up to them. Originally, they were doing 3D printed plastic violins with a different pickup. It still sounds kind of sweet. I'm more into the wood.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. And it's French, so you could, they went a little bit overboard on the aesthetics, I think. But it's one of my personal beasts, if you will. Like, it has a lot of guts to it.
Right.
That pickup is each string has its own pickup, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about it is, like, you can't really tell there, but it doesn't have a scroll. So the most challenging thing about this thing is just restringing it, especially in the middle of a show. But besides that, if you guys ever want to learn about electric violins, the Electric Violin Shop in North Carolina is fantastic. They have a lot of really cool resources and tools, and it's part of the community. Honestly, if you reach out to them and you are a violin player or a cellist or any kind of string instrument that uses a bow, they can help you out. So
yeah, neat, man.
Very cool.
Shout out to Matt Bell out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the last thing I wanted to talk about is what have you guys got coming up? What's going on in terms of your next moves?
Yeah. Oh, real quick. I have to mention Cordial Cables as well.
Yeah.
That's another gear thing. They've been fantastic. They're really supportive. They're actually out of Rogue River, I believe, as well. So that's pretty cool. For
It's
Rogue
meant
Theory.
to be.
It is, yeah. Rogue, Oregon. And then there's also Source Audio, which we can not forget. Source Audio pedals. The Nemesis is one of our personal favorite delays.
It's a delay pedal. Literally wrote one of our songs.
Yeah.
by
cool.
itself.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's the best when you get a new piece of gear and you start twisting knobs and
It
stuff.
makes it sound.
and
You
then
go, guys,
you go, this is it. This is a song.
Yeah. And so Source Audio, they make a lot of really cool pedals. What's really neat about their products is that they're all open source products. So if you so say Ben designed like a tone for one of the pedals, like say LA Lady or something, or Kingmaker, and you plug in your computer, you can adjust your tones that you like. I could later on go back and say, oh, Ben's tones, like on like the folder, say Ben's tones, and I could borrow your tone.
Oh,
but
cool.
it has your name on it. It was pretty cool. So
Yeah, it's really cool.
yeah, it's really neat. So it kind of gives a lot of versatility. I know he's on that train now too with Source Audio.
Yeah.
We're also currently in talking with Shure actually as well. So
Great.
that's one of the reasons why I'm excited.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And sure, if you're listening to this, then
We could use a couple extra mics.
yeah.
We'll talk, guys. We'll talk. Yeah,
Don't
that's
get
why
me
I
wrong,
asked.
we love them too. All right, brilliant. What's going on with your future plans, boys?
Man, the future. It's beautiful.
Going to
honestly. Yeah. It's we're going to Mars. No, the future's great, man. We were just in Jupiter, so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. I've been trying to make that joke or pun in a song forever, but I just can't. It always comes out stupid.
the race is on.
Yeah. Right. We should just write it together.
Challenge
Yeah,
yourself.
there you go.
Yeah, so we're really excited. We actually just left the studio with actually one of the songs that you guys heard earlier is one of the new ones that we're putting out.
Nice.
So that's exciting. 2/3 is also a part of that album. 2/3 been out for a couple years, but we want to put it in this compilation of songs just because we feel like it has the right energy for it. We released Henny Glass, which I think I sent you guys a video. It's one of our most. It's our outlier song. It's a heavier tone. It's definitely darker. It just has that kind of like stomping.
Yeah.
Armies coming, you know what I mean, kind of thing. I was thinking orcs and Lord of the Rings.
Excellent.
And I'm a nerd. And
We all are. It's okay.
Hey, I feel so accepted. My therapist will be really happy. All right, so we have the album coming out March 11th. We have a lot of really cool shows happening as well. So March 3rd, we're playing at Brew House, which is something that is kind of like a call to anybody that's ever played with us or whatever that wants to come join us. It's like a family get together. It's our thank you to Brew House for doing their thing for so long, kind of that labor of love. Then March 10th is the release of our album. It's so close that it's terrifying.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like March 10th. We still have some mixing to do. We have some really cool mixing people involved in a production team. Dave Donis up in Nashville. He's going to be mixing one of our songs because that's his style. And then we have another artist, Jake Flaw, is going to be mixing one of our rock songs. And then we have Ghost Made down in Miami mixing our thing. So it's really interesting and exciting. We're hoping to get Matt Noble to mix it, to master it for us. And then we should be ready to go. And then March 11th, we're playing at Jupiter Irish Festival for 2 days.
So are we.
Oh, nice. I know. I saw it on the list. I was really excited. I was like, oh, I'm glad we're doing this before we get there. So we get to do that. But in June, we are June 1st, at least tentatively, we are booked to go to Ireland for 12 days.
What?
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. If we can pull this off, people can buy tickets for the trip if they want to come along. It's all inclusive.
Awesome.
It's 2 meals a day. It's going to be like 12 days. Actually 10 days really, but 1 day to travel there and back.
Sure, yeah.
And it's really cool. We're going to all really great locations and stuff. If anybody's interested, it's
You
called
going
the
to Galway?
Ireland Experience. What was that?
Are you going to Galway?
Yeah, we're
We
going to
are.
Galway.
I
Yeah,
love Galway.
and he's singing it.
Yeah.
He's singing Galway.
No, I'm not actually. I tried it and I was like, this is not going to work out. And I'm not going to sing the song in Galway in Ireland and destroy it.
I love that town. It's such a beautiful place.
I went ahead and looked at all the different locations. The hotels are immaculately beautiful. The entire country looks amazing. I cannot wait to go.
Yeah.
But I cannot wait to go there and destroy a local Irish song in front of everyone as some gringo white dude from
In their
America.
hometown. In their hometown.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. So.
It's like singing New York State of Mind.
So we're practicing Galway Girl, all right?
Well, we're playing with a band called Blessed, and they're actually coming here for the Irish Festival, which you know, and they're coming here for the Irish Festival. We met them last year. Really hit it off with those guys. It went really well. And so that's the goal. I mean, if people can come, actually, Tony can sing "Galway Girl," so we don't have to sing it.
Beautiful.
Even better.
Voice to play it, right?
Yeah, Tony Cunningham over there. He's a songwriter and a singer, fantastic singer, actually. So we're really no pun intended, blessed to be having them. Play with us and us play for them, vice versa. Those are the big announcements that are coming up. I mean, we're talking about doing some Nashville shows as well. We possibly have an Atlanta show, South Carolina. So we're trying to build a bridge, is what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
One of my hashtags is build a bridge. So get out of South Florida in order to bring things back to South Florida.
For sure.
Yeah. So we need to go out, get some spices, get some whiskey, and bring that back. And not in that order, and just bring them back and spread the love, and then also take people from here out of here as well. Which I always felt like I worked at Disney for a while. One of the things that they encouraged you to do was to leave.
Yeah.
And they would let you leave. Best job I ever had in my life. Like, hey, I need to leave for 3 months. Awesome. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Get out of here. Go get your life experience. Come on back. You know? And bring it back. And they felt like it really kind of helped build community and faith and trust.
That's great.
So, yeah, the album is really exciting. We're looking at Firestarter is going to be on there. Moon Song's going to be on there. Shoulder as well.
Nice.
2/3. On My Mind. Florida Sunday is one that we're excited to play as well. It's really local Florida Sunday kind of fishing song, boat song.
Cool.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, that's
We'll be playing them actually at the 561 Music
It's a
Festival.
month away.
Yeah.
It's April 1st, baby.
I was going to say, another date in there you forgot about.
No,
It's
no,
the
no.
561 Music
Well,
Festival.
I was saving that for the end. I figured we would do like
Right.
like
You
fireworks.
guys are also playing the Lake Worth Street Painting Festival this weekend.
Oh, that's
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
He knows our schedule better
Hector,
than we
man,
do.
you want to be a manager?
Right.
Oh my god,
I mean,
dude, we need one. All right, so
don't let Dave hear you, man. He'll be upset.
Oh yeah. Dave. I love that guy.
Shout out to Dave.
David's a good guy. Actually, Lake Worth Street Painting Festival, that's coming up this weekend, which is really exciting. And then the Ambrosia Music Festival as well, that's happening on Sunday.
You got some cool stuff coming up, man.
Yeah, lots of cool stuff this month. This
Yeah,
whole month.
this
February has
month.
been rough, honestly.
Word of advice, if anybody's looking like for like next year, thinking about a year with it, or just like a month that they want to fill up with music festivals and stuff like that. In my experience, it seems like they're all happening at the end of January and beginning of February, like February.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
if you're going out looking, like start in the fall, looking for things for February or March.
Right. Good to know. Good to know. What have we got coming up?
Friday night we are playing at DOS
Yeah.
in
DOS.
Jupiter. And Saturday, you guys do not have Grouper this week, right?
No.
Okay, so Saturday we were playing at Patty Mac's.
Yeah, man, and that's going to be fun because there's a Honda Classic going on, so it always
it's
gets
a fun
busy.
one, man.
And all your buddies from the Lake Worth Street
Yeah,
Painting thing.
this
come.
weekend, man. This weekend's gonna be crazy. I'm doing the Lake Worth Street Painting Festival this weekend.
Yeah.
I'll be not playing music. I'll be doing painting.
Did you know that Hector's an amazing
Yeah, we had a
artist?
conversation about it
Yeah,
earlier.
honestly, I can't draw stick figures, so I'm impressed by anybody that can pick up a pencil.
I mean,
and
I
create
can't
an
either,
idea.
but you know.
Just still do it anyway.
But I still do it anyways.
Yeah.
People humor me.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming on.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you, guys.
And you guys are all, I respect you all as musicians, and you're all lovely people, so thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
awesome.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having
Let's
us.
let's talk a little bit about the festival real quick before we
Absolutely,
go.
yeah.
So 561 Music Festival, guys. It's happening April 1st. It's going to happen at Matthews Brewing Company. 20 bands for $10. It's 50 cents a band. And if you really want a deal for $25, you get your ticket and you get a shirt. So that's basically like about a $10 savings if you do it in advance. We have a whole bunch of sponsors that have been stepping up to the plate. Matthews Brewing is, of course, offering up their venue as they did last year, and it's pretty amazing. So, Justin, if you can bring up the other graphic, we will run through all the bands and all the sponsors.
April 1st is going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, man.
It's going to be lit. Yeah.
It's gonna be so
for
much
sure.
fun.
Did he step away?
20 bands.
I'll have to edit that. Did he step away?
Apologies, everything's good, but once I heard that bass come in, I had to go check with Yaz and make sure that he's okay,
because he's recording. Yeah. Okay. No. It's fine. It's fine. I'll cut this out. But just bring the other graphic up now. Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Oh, the love.
Yep. Yeah. No. Yeah. No worries.
3, 2,
Hang
1.
on. Give it a second, because I gotta splice this in. Yeah. So if you guys are looking at the YouTube version right now, you can see we've got Octogato, Tasty Vibrations, Uproot Hootenanny, Jake Walden, Joey Caldereo, Bryce Allen, Libika, Killbillies, which of course is the greatest band ever. The Shake, 1983, Dominic Delaney and the Dead Language. The Buck Stops Here, Rogue Theory, Spider Cherry, Hadi, Stumble Steady, Eastway, Andy Styron, Euphobia, and Young Fiction. I mean, if that's not a stacked lineup, I don't know what is. So
Yeah, and people have been commenting on that online a lot. People have been like, "Wow, it's so stacked this year," and you know that just makes us so happy we've managed to put all these bands together.
No, it's been an amazing lineup that we pulled together, man.
Yeah.
I say if you have a choice between Sunfest and 561 Music, definitely come to 561 Music. I'm telling you, it's a good lineup. It's a good lineup.
You don't have to choose though; they're both awesome.
But they are both awesome. You should just go to both. Yeah. And of course, we want to thank all of our sponsors: Backsaver, Oasis Root, Raincat Studios, Live Music Community, Easy Teas, of course Matthews and Pure Honey, who have all stepped up to the plate and done some sort of level of sponsorship, which is helping this festival happen. Just like the podcast, this festival, the proceeds from this festival basically go to put on the festival. Anything left over goes right back into the podcast, guys. So, as we've said it, and we've been doing this for 2 years now, we've said it 100,000 times. Ben and I don't do this to make money, and if we do. If we are doing it to make money, we're doing a really terrible job because we do not make money. At the end of the day, all the money and everything goes back into the podcast. It goes back into the festival. We do this because we believe in what we're doing. There's a local music community here that needs to be seen, needs to be heard. And so we're doing everything we can to make that happen.
Yep, absolutely.
So again, 561musicfestival.com or 561musicfest.com will get you to the tickets. Click on the ticket link. $10 to get you in the door. $25 to get you in the door and a T-shirt. If you're feeling especially generous, you have a business and you want to get your name out there, we have on that same ticket link in the drop-down menu, there are all the sponsorship levels. You can choose one of the sponsorship levels and sponsor. Some of the sponsorship levels get you mentions on the show. Other sponsorship levels get you full ads. Some get you banners at the place. And if you really want to get crazy and spend the big money, we'll name a stage after you. So so we're gonna have the Ben Child stage. I feel it in my bones. So 561musicfest.com, 561musicfestival.com. Either one gets you there. If you want to just check out the podcast in general, 561music.com gets you to our regular website. From there, you can also go to the festival. You can go to our YouTube channel. You can sponsor the show. You can watch and or listen to any one of the past episodes. I think there's even a Killbillies link on there just because why not?
Oh, exactly.
561music.com, and then all the socials are at 561 Music Podcast.
That's it.
Correct. All right, man.
You're good at that bit.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So, one of the other things I want to say about the festival is, we from the bottom of our hearts, like seriously, thank everyone that was at the festival last year, all the bands that were there last year. It was absolutely amazing. We could not have been happier with the turnout and with the outcome of it. We're hoping to duplicate that magic this year, and we need your guys' help to do it. Obviously, we need people there and enjoying the music. As we've said, it is an absolute stacked lineup. If you're not there enjoying this music, and I don't know what you're doing that day, because that's going to be the place to be. There's just amazing musicians and amazing bands. 2 stages, starts at 11 a.m. I'm sorry, starts at noon
Yeah.
and ends at 11 p.m.
Yeah.
And we go back and forth just like last year, back and forth on the stages while one band is playing, the other one's setting up. So there's never an empty spot. It starts
like an old reggae dueling sound system situation.
It's just going to go back and forth all day. So it's going to be absolutely amazing. We're going to have food trucks there. We're going to have some merch tables set up so the different bands can sell their merch. And so, we'll probably rotate out 2-3 bands at a time, that sort of thing. We're going to have a living room set up with some couches, and then we're going to have the living room sessions there and have the bands all stop by and talk to them for a few minutes and stuff. And the reason we're doing that is because we're going to record that and use that for our 100th episode. So
Yay.
we are celebrating that at the festival, our 100th episode.
A cool ton.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, man.
I
Hard
know.
to believe 100 episodes.
It's been good times, man. I've enjoyed every second.
Oh man,
of it.
it's been crazy. We were just
Even that time that I Skyped in from England, that was.
I'm telling you, like we were talking about it earlier. Sometimes I get in the car and I'm driving over here and I'm like, oh, here we go again. Another week. We got to do this again. And then I get here and I'm like, I love doing this.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
How do I not love doing this? I love doing this.
Yeah, exactly. It's great fun, mate. It's great fun.
Goes back to Harry's comment. If you don't love it, don't do it.
Don't do
Yeah.
it.
We love it.
Do something else.
Yeah.
We love it. So
Nice.
so thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
it
of
was
course.
Thank
absolutely
you for
awesome
having
having you guys here, and we are absolutely looking forward to having you guys on the festival lineup.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be
Yeah,
good stuff.
wicked.
Really looking forward to it. Just getting a chance to actually connect with other bands that are usually playing the same nights that you're playing.
Right?
That's the biggest thing I hear.
It's like
from
I
the
want to go see
bands.
you guys, but we got work, man. We got.
That's what I hear from a lot of the bands.
Yeah.
That they're like, they're just, they're hanging out all day, and we're like, don't you have another gig or something? No, I want to watch all these bands. I never get to see these bands play. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
I'm really looking
it's
forward
good.
to nerding out with all the local musicians.
Yeah,
it's going
for
to be
sure.
perfect.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be
Oh,
awesome.
thanks so much, and we will see you very shortly in a few short weeks for this festival. And best of luck with all the rest of it. It sounds very exciting what you got going on.
Yeah, thank you.
And I guess that's us.
All right.
Thank you
That's
very
it,
much.
guys.
guys.
Peace out.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.